Hello, Crystal Palace. Welcome to the Up and Onward Library Hub's Library Lunch. This is a place to share positive and useful local information, find out about our community in a bit more depth, and just try and keep us entertained and connected during this time. So speaking of entertained, I'm very happy to introduce my guest today, who is Tam Ryan, an entertainer and actor. Tam, thanks so much for joining me. It's lovely to have you.
Thank you, Eleanor. Your face has come alive. Look at you smile. You're just a beacon of smiling positivity. This is exactly what we need.
Because I was so miserable before we went live.
Well, no, I won't say miserable. I'd just say more meshed. But now I can just suddenly see you've opened a fridge and bang.
Entertainment. That's the aim. That is the aim. Exactly.
It's beautiful. It's nice to see.
Yeah, thanks.
But thanks for inviting me on. Thank you.
That's a pleasure. Tell us a bit about your background and what you do.
Well, I'm an entertainer and actor. I think you as you mentioned. So yeah, I'm regularly found on a stage telling offbeat jokes and singing to entertain people, all part of a production. So so that, I mean, in normal times I'm generally like that. At the moment, I'm sat in my daughter's bedroom. If you were wondering about the butterflies behind me, that's not a weird thing about my character. I'm not a collector.
It's a very beautiful backdrop anyway, with the butterflies and the flowers. It's very lovely.
Yeah, thank you. I was hoping to have a more sedate backdrop, but I've been since we're in sort of tier 3 lockdown where I live, my family are dominating downstairs and have shoved me up into a dark recess of the house. So here I am.
Excellent. Tell us a bit about some of the shows you've done then. So while we're talking about your background and what you've been doing in normal times.
Yeah, okay. You're trying to reduce me to tears here, Eleanor. This is good news.
Oh, sorry.
When there was a business. Well, no, I mean the last thing I did was Elf the musical, which we toured around arenas. I was lucky and privileged enough to win the role of Buddy, which was quite daunting at the time, but you know, I've done that for the last 2 sort of Christmases, which has been so much fun. You know, it's such a ridiculous show in many ways, and it was an adaptation from the one that hit Broadway and the West End, and they made it into a sort of interactive arena show.
Wow!
So it was the biggest, just the biggest thing. It was just hard to get your head around. You know, playing the Wembley that we did in Dublin and Glasgow and all these huge places, and the colour and the production that was thrown at it was quite inspiring when you're just little old me on a stage in front of all these people. You know.
How on earth do you make it interactive in such enormous venues?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a challenge and a test, and that was one of my first questions to the producer. But I think the premise was, you know, that it's a different show for everyone because of the seating arrangement. You know, you're almost it's like working around, I suppose. So you've got 3 sides to entertain. It's a very different show experience for the person on the back row than it is for the person looking up at the stage. Yeah. So that the short answer to the question is there was things happening all around the arena. There was the main action on the stage, which of course was the plot was played out and the narrative and all the story was told. But whilst that was happening, there was circus performers, there was people on stilts, there was trapeze, there was things happening and exploding all around the arena, which was in the view to engage, you know, everyone, as I said, from the people looking at the back of the room. So the arena.
It sounds like a really big production then.
It was massive. So I suppose it was the biggest thing that I've been involved with. So, but it was a really ambitious, you know, plot, but ultimately successful. You know, everyone left full of the joys of Christmas. So it was a great feel-good show as well. It's the beauty of that, you know, it kind of brought everything together. You know, it reached everyone on certain levels. So I had so much fun doing it.
Yeah, you mentioned that you've been in pantomime quite a bit as well. I guess there's a similar. Yeah,
somewhat too. But you know, when I'm going for that audition as a period drama, and then looking back, going Cinderella, Aladdin, Mother Goose. Yeah.
I mean, lots of different period experience, surely.
Would be what I said. Yeah, but no, I have done a lot of panto. It's one of those things that, I mean, I sound like I'm ashamed of it, and I'm absolutely not. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's just, it just does tend to clog the CV up a touch. But no, it's great fun. Look, I was resident at Manchester Opera House for 5 years. I played the comedy character there. I worked with some amazing people in some big old shows. And yeah, I mean, this, sadly, not to be too melancholic about it, but this would be the first year that I've not done panto. I think 23 years.
Wow.
23 years, which is horrible when you say out loud. But so yeah, so it'll be a real miss this Christmas. You know, I was lucky enough as well to be involved in my at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool, which is not far from where I live. And it was their sort of return to pantomime there. It was a great show. But alas, it's been postponed, not cancelled, postponed to 2021.
Yeah. What do you love about panto then? Because you've been doing it. If you've been doing it that long, you must enjoy it.
I do. I mean, look, I sort of trained. I flirted with stand-up comedy, so I mean, I love getting into audiences, and I love, but also it gives me the ability to do that. But also, it ticks the dramatic box as well, because you know, I'm in a piece, and I've got to stay true to my character, but I have the adaptability and the license to break down the walls and you know, get stuck into the people watching the nonsense that we're performing. So I suppose in many ways it satisfies every part of me as a performer. And you also get that instant gratification. You know if the scene or the joke has been good, because they will tell you, and there's honesty in an audience. And you know, whereas you sometimes, you know, if you're in a fairly sedate piece of art, you know, you're not sure until the end whether that's hit. You know, so I suppose it's all that your brain is trained, certainly when you're doing comedy, that, well, you know, you need to react and tell me that and it's not an ego thing. It's almost the validation to whether that worked or not. So I think that's what you get from panto. I suppose when I analyse it, that's one of the great things about it.
And I suppose the type of audience you get really makes a difference, doesn't it? Is you sometimes if you get a really good audience who are really, really responsive.
Sure, and it's your job to, you know, the roles that I would generally get in the panto. It's your job to make that audience work, you know, for you. You know, you've got to get them early, and that's kind of your job. You're getting them in the mood.
What do you do with a quiet audience?
Well, I try and reverse that, I suppose. But you get them, of course, and you know, every audience is different, isn't it? And you just roll on. You just roll on, and eventually, I think something will hit. And it can be, look, the solitary laugh is often a much better laugh than the majority laugh. I think, because, and then you know, you just play that. You just play, well, thanks, mate. Can you give the others a nudge? Yeah. And you know, I'll play to that person, or I'll play to that section. Yeah. You know, if there's a general sense of disdain, I will wonder if the mic's turned on or whether they've opened the curtains properly. Because I think, well, something's gone wrong. This worked yesterday, and then have a complete meltdown. What is wrong with you people? Turn it back on them. That's my advice. Turn it back on them.
Okay.
Not as aggressively.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm making notes here. I quite often do a series of concerts at the Musical Museum in Kew at Christmas.
Okay.
Sadly, hopefully we're doing one this year.
Oh, right. Okay.
Still to be confirmed, but hopefully. But instead of, we usually do about 12 to 14 for tour groups, you know, come in on a bus, and they're going to have their afternoon tea with the concerts here, and then they go and see the lights, and they go to Kew Gardens. And but I find interestingly, sometimes the quietest audiences are the ones who are most effusive afterwards. So the ones who will come up after and tell you how much they enjoyed it, but they make no response during.
No, but it's easy to make that judgment as the performer, isn't it? I suppose it's a constant works. It's the creature in you that needs that kind of just that the gratification for what you're doing. But no, I was aligned that to panto. I mean, it can be the biggest compliment out there that you can't hear a pin drop, can't it? For any performance. That means they're listening. They're hanging on your every word. Imagine that.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking. So without being too depressing, let's talk about the last few months. So because you have actually been doing stuff, haven't you?
I've been doing stuff.
Months, maybe slightly different from normal.
Doing stuff. No, I mean, look, I've been the same as anything. I think we're all anyone who makes a career from performing has found. I mean, it's been a horrible situation for everyone, but it's been particularly frustrating because I think we've all got creative output, so we need to. There's a deep need and a want in people in our profession to get out there, and to put something out there, just to make sure everything's still working, just to make sure that that. So I mean, look, through boredom more than anything else, the family and I have been doing a range of just spoof videos, I suppose.
Awesome.
I mean, it started with the horrors and the terrors of homeschooling, and the children just generally losing complete respect for their parents as supply teachers. And I was I knew that the only reason I was holding the job down was because there was no other applicants. It was very simple. It's like, Daddy is not a geography teacher, and he's displaying that on a regular basis. So my challenge to try and engage the kids in a music lesson, I decided to say, well, let's make a music video. And suddenly, I became the fun guy again. And then we did it, and then we got a taste for it, and then we got carried away. So we made a whole sort of series of videos, and then we decided I found an editing suite. I literally grabbed the ball and run off with it. It started as a very pure kind of let's educate the children best we can in troubling times, and then it developed into we just made some videos, and then we made some money for the NHS, which I thought we put it to good use, I think, to a degree. So
you made a lot of money.
Yeah, well, we did all right. It surprised me more than anything that anyone liked it, because, as I said, it started off as the nucleus of the idea. It was just to try and get through the day without cracking open another bottle of Jacob's Creek by 4 o'clock. And generally, it was nothing more than that. But yeah.
But there must be so many parents at the moment who've had similar experience. I mean, I just can't imagine what it must have been like being trapped in a house permanently
with my kids,
either or both, trying to work and homeschool the kids and keep them engaged and not go nuts yourself at the same time.
That's it. I mean, the kids the kids are brilliant because they're so resilient anyway. It's almost like, so well, we can't go out, we can't see our friends, well, we're disappointed, but an orange, and they'll come back. But so I suppose it's your mind frame a lot of the time, and once you set a project out, or it's the same as anything. It's just a general approach to life, whatever life throws at you. I've always been that where you think, well, of course it's bad, of course, but there's always a way to turn every negative scenario into something positive. And I think the more you can try and think like that generally, look at me sounding like some amazing philosopher here with a completely unqualified to give us advice. But it's just the way we sort of approached our lockdown. And I think we had a lot of positives come out of it. In terms of just reconnecting with each other and with the kids, you can end up just being the taxi service. Eloise has got drama, and Barney's got guitar, and then Barney's got, we eat here, and then we go to bed, then we need a drink. Life can be so fast, can't it? It can be so 100 miles an hour. And it gave us the chance to step off the gas a bit and enjoy each other's company, I think.
That's good.
Imagine that, enjoying each other's company.
Oh, that's lucky.
It's not what we signed up for, was it? Yeah, but no, I've enjoyed it.
Very glad to hear that.
Good. Yeah.
I've got a couple of comments actually from Natalie. Hi, Natalie. Thanks for commenting. She said it's good to keep going and stay creative.
Yes.
And then following on from that, music, comedy, and creativity has kept us going. And I think it's actually been really interesting how so many people, artists of various kinds, have been doing all sorts of things during lockdown, learning how to do things like you have with creating virtual content that maybe they weren't doing before, or doing live streams and stuff, and it's just been so appreciated, hasn't it?
Oh, good. Well, I think so, because I've appreciated it when other people have done it as well. So I think, well, why not get on? And Natalie's absolutely right in what she says. And I'd ask her just to forward that to Rishi Sunak, just for some feedback there.
Yeah.
But it's hugely important, you know, that sense of creativity, particularly when we end up in this almost, well, completely unprecedented situation that no one could have predicted. I remember people saying to me, "Oh well, the thing is, Tam, you know, you'll always work," and I'm suing that person now because you know, and what they meant by that was that, you know, you can sing a bit, you can act a bit, you can tell, you know, you're hitting every sort of, and that's what I like to do. You know, in answer to a previous question, I've never really honed in on one specific thing. I like to do everything, and you know, you talk about my love of pantomime. That you get the chance, you know, you get the chance to be good at, or to try to be good. You get the chance to do everything within a framework, and that is what really makes me fall in love with performing and fall in love with the art.
It means you're very adaptable and flexible, I guess, as well.
Yes, or, you know, jack of all, master of none, some might say.
You can be both at once, I think.
That's
what I tell myself.
Let's go with that one.
Yeah, I think about this a lot. I'm similarly have many strands.
Yeah, and, it's always a good thing.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
keep your brain alive.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you like variety, it's a good way to be, isn't it?
Of course, absolutely that.
Yeah. You mentioned before we went live about lockdown having kind of brought you into closer acquaintance with yourself, I think, or words to that effect.
Sure.
So would you expand a bit on that, because I'm intrigued?
Okay, are you? I'll have to think what I meant by it. I think it's just it gives you, you know, as I alluded to before, you know, life can be such a race that sometimes you don't give yourself that chance to step back and ask yourself if you're enjoying what you're doing. And suddenly, when, you know, you're everything is stripped back as it has been, then I think you start to ask yourself some more questions. If you allow yourself, you start to ask yourself if you're happy. There's a great purge on mental health. And I think, you know, the reason that there perhaps is at the moment is because the world has kind of stopped, and people are left to evaluate what they've got, what they want, what their real ambitions are in life. And it's so easy to just be swept along in this tide of, you know, whatever age group you fall into. Now I must do my GCSEs, now I must do A-levels, now I must do this, now I must do that. Well, stop for a minute and just sit back and ask yourself, is that the direction I want to go in? Am I satisfying myself and not just what everyone's telling me I need to be directing myself? And I think, you know, I speak for me, my wife, and my kids, and we've just said, you know, this is a really important time actually in our lives, just to focus on us and what we want to do and what we want to get from life. Yeah. So it's a vague answer, but you know, I can things are specific to me, things are specific to you and Louise and everyone else. So it's just asking yourself those questions and giving yourself those times,
I think that's the positive way of looking at it, because I think the other side is that there's nowhere to hide. Yeah. I think especially kind of living in London, it is incredibly busy. I think, you know, you obviously have it further north as well by the sound of it with your life, but you know, I find in London that I'm just always running from one thing to the next. They're in different locations, and I literally spend my life running between different bits of London. I'll be teaching a lesson in a law firm, and then I'll be running a choir somewhere, and then, you know, singing a bit somewhere, and sitting in a coffee shop trying to catch up on my emails, and you know, and I think maybe what I've found hard is that it's taking away all that running around.
Sure.
has left me nowhere to hide from myself.
Right.
Which ultimately is a good thing, I'm sure. It's just a
Yeah,
shock.
but I totally get that. But again, it's about evaluating what was before and what is now. And I suppose when you take all the things, which I'm not trying to say everything in life is superficial, because I don't believe that, but I think a lot of what we do is kind of done for us. It is kind of, we're directed that way, and we don't stop to think, is this me? Is this me, or is this just what I've become and I'm running with it? And I think, like you say, it's a scary time, and a lot of people, I didn't think we'd be getting this deep, actually. I thought you'd be asking me what I was going to be doing next year.
I could ask that if you wouldn't.
No, I can't quite enjoy this. But no, I totally get that point. And it's, you do, when everything's stripped back, you do have to ask yourself some deep, meaningful questions. And this year has done that for us. For us all.
So are there things, have you decided on things that you would want to cut out, and or have you found new things that you want to keep?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. I want to stop thinking hour to hour, which is kind of what I did. And a bit more long term, and I want to step off it a little bit. It's made me think, you know what, I'm not going to go chasing. And I'm not saying it's curtailed ambition or anything like that, but I just think it's focused my mind into, well, leisure time is equally as important as making this appointment or dropping you off here or getting tea at this time. Yeah. And I just think it's, you read about people. It happened to a friend of mine. Had a very high-powered job. I won't name it, but I had a very high-powered job, and then suddenly had this complete life breakdown, and has just completely gone the other way. He's got a really a job which pays a very minimum wage to what he was on, but he's so much happier in himself. And it's where I suppose it's how you classify happiness. Is it the huge wage and the posh car and the big house and the week in Provence every year, or is it inner happiness and peace and lack of stress? So look at that. I feel like I should have some kind of Bob Marley hat on and a big poster behind me instead of these.
I think the butterflies and flowers are quite appropriate, really.
Yeah. Instead, it's a picture of Ariana Grande over there. It just doesn't compute with what I'm saying at all.
Oh, well, maybe it's reinforcing it from the opposite side.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Yeah, should have thought of that.
I've got another very apt comment from Natalie saying, it's forced us out of autopilot, a great opportunity to reflect. Completely agree.
And Natalie said it in much more succinct terms than I could ever have. So well done. Yeah, Bob on.
Awesome. So just you mentioned kind of about mental health and things. Have you guys been doing anything specifically to sort of look after yourselves? I mean, mentally and physically, health-wise, especially because you're now in tier 3. How does that work?
No, yeah. Well, I mean, it puts further restrictions, of course, on what we can and can't do. But yeah, we're just trying to keep ourselves healthy in body and mind, really. I mean, the kids are on holiday at the minute. They get 2 weeks for half term. Which having had them for 6 months is a real joy.
2 weeks is easy, surely, after 6 months.
You'd think, couldn't you? Or it brings memories back. No, I jest. Yeah, look, we're trying to. We had a little fitness regime in the house. We start with Joe Wicks, as I'm sure the rest of the country did for a while, and then we did our own stuff. We had an assault course in the garden.
Cool.
Things like that, and we have special reading times now where we have got a creative half hour, and then Eloise will start suddenly taking up piano, so she'll play us something that we haven't heard before.
Oh, lovely.
That's creative.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. You created some new traditions then.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we've done a lot of nice family stuff.
Yeah. Cool.
I still miss performing. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes you've got to get out of the house.
Yeah.
and I, I don't want to paint the fact that we've got the perfect family, because if you saw some of the footage on the cutting room floor of the videos that we were making, yeah, the kids might have been taken off us.
You need to keep it for the weddings.
Absolutely, would have made a much stronger comedy video than the one we ended up with.
Save it, keep it in the background.
Yeah,
that's blackmail right. Threats.
Oh, it's all there. Don't worry. We're gonna file.
Excellent. We're very nearly out of time.
Oh,
unbelievably.
Are we?
Yes,
Goodness.
we are.
Right.
So just before we finish, do you have things coming up? Do you have ideas for the future? And how can people keep in touch?
Okay, well, via the socials, I think I'm at Tam Ryan 28. I'm kind of falling out with Twitter a little bit, but I'm on there, and Instagram and Facebook and everything, so all of that. But coming up, I mean, what it's made you do is think creatively and outside the box. So a wonderful acting company that I've worked with before have come up with this virtual streaming for office and Christmas parties, because obviously they're going to be difficult this year, on that sort of corporate sector. So we're actually with a very good friend of mine who's a fine actor and comedian. We're putting something together as we speak. We're doing some filming yesterday and a green screen stuff yesterday. I can't really say too much yet because it's not really officially been launched, but it's targeting that market where you can have the virtual Christmas party and have a couple of people hosting it with lots of cutaways. There's going to be lots of things found out about your company, so it'll be very tailored to individuals within it. So it's that really. That's the main focus. And next year, I've gone in. We're writing something. A friend of mine and I are writing something, which we've already got a small bit of interest for. So we're hoping to pursue that. But we proceed with caution as to what will hit us in 2021.
Well, I guess the thing is, once you've got the ideas going, if they don't happen next year, you've got them for 2022.
Exactly. Well, now's the perfect time, isn't it? Now's the perfect time. With time on our hands, there's so much to source, particularly with comedy this year. I mean, this year has just been the gift that keeps giving in terms of material. If you look at it from that year, from the cynical point of view. So so occasionally I will, an idea will come to me and I'll think that's a stand-up routine right there. And to be honest, it doesn't really need elaborating because I've just watched the news and transcripted it. This could go straight to stage. Make of that what you will.
Well, we're going to need some laughs, I think.
Absolutely. Sure. So, big time.
Excellent. Well, thank you ever so much for coming to talk to us. That's been a lot of fun. And I'm definitely going to go and watch your spoof videos now.
Oh, please do. Yes. The Sound of Lockdown. The Sound of Lockdown was the one that kind of viraled away. So
amazing. Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see that.
Fabulous.
Thank you very much indeed. Just before we finish, I've got a couple of announcements. So there's a few kids things coming up. So firstly, we have Captain Cauliflower. Join the invincible Captain Cauliflower as he flies into your living room in a new online adventure filled with extreme silliness and unquestionable danger. Find out how Brian, a very ordinary man, became something extraordinary, the world's first vegetable-themed superhero, and saved the world. So this is this coming Sunday on our live stream channel, so via Facebook Upper Norwood Library Hub page at 11:15 a.m. Then we've also got our family Halloween Spooktacular coming up, which again is through the live stream. Saturday, the 31st of October from 5:45. This is about an hour, sort of 6 till 7, of Halloween songs from amazing singers, many of whom you'll have seen at the Library Hub doing the West End nights. And we've got songs from classics such as Wicked, The Addams Family Musical, Sweeney Todd, The Rocky Horror Show, and The Witches of Eastwick, to name just a few. My favourite thing that I want to see if it happens is the idea of Joan Apthine dressed as a cat on top of a table. I'm actually not sure what song that was for, but I can't wait to find out. So do tune in for that. It's free. Donations would be very much appreciated, but it is free. So please do tune in and watch that on the 31st at 5:45. We've got Croydon Live have a call out for creatives. They're commissioning 3 family-friendly theatre pieces from Croydon-based companies. So it's a paid opportunity for people living in the borough of Croydon. And if you want to be considered for a commission, please email your expression of interest to JLA Productions, and Rin will put the email address in the live feed now. We have the Big Energy Saving Network at the Upper Norwood Library Hub. This is a what's the word? I've forgotten now. It's not connected to any energy companies. It's impartial advice. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Impartial, free advice about energy, what the options are, different companies, whether you should switch, how to make your house more efficient, whether a boiler upgrade would be a good idea, things like this. It's impartial, it's free, it's been going for several years now, so it's a well-oiled machine. Please do check that out if you've got any questions about your energy company and cost and efficiency in your house. Finally, in terms of stuff that's going on at the Library Hub at the moment, we've got English classes, which are a series of tutor-led classes aimed at improving learners' confidence in speaking English. Started at the end of September. You can still join. There are 2 weekly online classes for beginners and those at intermediate or improver level. There's a one-off fee of £30. That is for the entire year, and you can attend weekly classes until next July. For that's an amazing deal. So please do check that out if you want to improve your English or you know somebody who does. Last couple of things. We're still continuing our All Alone Together project funded by the Arts Council, creating an oral history of the pandemic and researching how the Library Hub can help the community going forward. So in order to do this, we need members of the community to help us out with the research. So there's a very short questionnaire on our website. The link will be in the feed in a second. It's just 4 questions. It will take about 5 minutes. Please do fill it in. And if you're up for being part of the podcast, where we can hear members of the local community in their own words, in their own voices, telling about their experiences, if you're up for being part of that, please tick the box to say you're willing to be interviewed, and I would love to have a chat with you. Very last thing, we're always looking for people to come on this show and chat to us. It's often local people, local traders, local charities. If you're running an event, if you've changed your business during lockdown, or you just want to come and chat to us about something local. But obviously we've had Tam today. Amazing to have you from much further up north. So it's often local, it's not a given, but just things that might be interesting, entertaining, useful, any of those things. So if you're interested in that, please do give us a shout. It really, really helps us if you come to us, I have to say, because then we know you want to do it. And as much as we can go out and look for people, it really saves us a lot of time if you guys come to us and say, hey, I want to talk to you. So we'd love to hear from you if you've got something you want to talk to us about on the Library Lunch. That's it for us for today. We'll be back on Monday with the Library Lunch. Tam, thanks so much. It's been great to chat to you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Wait to see your spoof videos.
Okay.
Thanks very much. Stay safe, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.